All right, greetings everybody. We are in HighByte's booth in Hannover Messe 2026 here with John Harrington. Good to see you again, John.
Great to see you,
Now,
Lucian.
you've been here for a number of years. What's new about this year? What is showing and what is one thing that, the biggest thing that the manufacturing would you like to walk away from visiting HighByte?
Yeah, I think for us, AI is kind of maturing. It's people now understand the needs for data. They understand the need to contextualize. They know what context means. And so they're coming to us looking for solutions. And it just feels like instead of kind of a trick or a funny thing, now we're actually seeing use cases. We're working with it. We've implemented it some in our software as a way of helping users come up to speed and helping users interact with the software. But we're also, the use cases where they're using AI on the data, we're also seeing that mature, and that's really exciting because they got some great use cases that are coming up.
And we'll get to the use case shortly, but I wanted to start maybe with one of your quote, right? You wrote that agentic AI will create about 100x explosion in data consumers.
Yes.
What is the biggest data challenges manufacturers are hitting right now because of that?
Yeah, so like the interesting thing about agents is that it allows you to deploy AI on the shop floor, unique to a certain machine. And LLMs have the flexibility to really provide a lot of value there with agentic AI. The challenge is that now, like I said, you're going to have thousands or even maybe tens of thousands of agents, and every single one of them needs data. Every single one of them needs a certain amount of data, not all data. You can't just expose everything to them because agents don't do well when they just get exposed to massive volumes. You focus the data that they need. So, we just see this huge opportunity of how do we provide, it's kind of like an evolution from the unified namespace to the data control plane. And how do we provide an application that companies can manage and control the flows of data, of industrial data throughout their enterprise.
Now, talk a little bit about how does HighByte solve that? You alluded a little bit to the fact, but how does your MCP server approach actually do for a plant? What does it do for a plant trying to get a AI agent connected to the operational data?
Yeah, so MCP is a protocol that's used by agents. It was designed for LLMs. And it's a much more human communication-centric type of protocol. So instead of getting, having APIs that you go to, you go to the MCP server and you ask for the tools. What tools are available for me to use? And it checks your authorization and says, these tools are available for you. And then each tool has a description and parameters that you can give it and you get data back. So it's a more natural way for interacting with systems.
Got it.
What HighByte does, though, is that we're able to layer an MCP server on top of all of your industrial data. So now we're able to expose all of that data as an API, but via MCP to the LLMs. So then you can discreetly say these tools are available for this agent, and you may have a quality agent or a predictive maintenance agent, and certain tools can be targeted for each one.
And we'll double click on some of the use cases in particular about that one data layer, but I wanted to just to quickly swing by the examples you used today in your panel with Alcon, and maybe Thursday you'll talk about the national grid. What's the one result from those projects that a manufacturing watching should be like, I want to talk to John or the team here at HighByte?
The biggest challenge that companies have when they're trying to digitally transform, and now with AI, is data. And being able to scale their data access and having not just data, but usable data. And that's what HighByte delivers. So, Alcon is a great example of a company that they wanted to digitally transform. They have some predictive maintenance use cases. They had a quality use case, wanted to improve the yield, improve the quality of their contact lenses. Well, using HighByte, they were able to deploy that not at a single machine, but across the entire plant very efficiently and with very low effort and very low energy. So they're just able to roll out, like HighByte was formulated all around scale. And how do I get access to usable industrial data at scale? And so Alcon is just a great example of being able to roll that out much faster. With their traditional means, they had figured it would take them a year to roll it out. With HighByte, it took them less than a month. So it's that sort of scale that we're seeing and that the customers are really attracted to.
Thanks for that. And that was one of my favorite quotes this week about not only being efficient on the plant floor, but also being able to scale and grow with the AI or leveraging agentic AI and so on. Now, you've mentioned the one layer, and right now you're here in the booth surrounded by some of the largest companies, whether it's AWS, Microsoft, Siemens, Snowflake for that reason, Databricks. What does the manufacturing actually gain from connecting all of that through the one layer? Double click a little bit more there.
So Snowflake and Databricks and Amazon or Microsoft, they have data tools that are far bigger than any solution that's ever been developed for industry. And one of the things that we're seeing is a lot of industrial systems were designed for a single plant. But as you then want to view that data across multiple plants and you want to pull in the data for the production monitoring and mix it with the maintenance and mix it with your SAP data or your sales data, you need much bigger platforms. And the Amazons and Microsofts and Databricks and Snowflake, they really designed that way. So we just see those platforms as being such a greater scale for companies. And the companies generally have large teams that they're already using those solutions for their sales data and their finance data. That team can be put to use for their industrial data. And they think all the capabilities they could drive out of that, all the business advantages. And so we see that as a huge lever for manufacturing to take it to the next level and to take manufacturing productivity, quality, yield, performance, so much, the opportunity is huge.
John, thank you so much for the insights. And if you're here at the trade show, stop by the booth. One of the fastest growing company in the main area and exponential growth over the last few years from what I read. Stop by and understand how you can leverage that solution in your plan.